This is going to be a at-home movement warm-up. We call it a movement warm-up because this is what we use with our clients to prep them before a workout. But if you're at home, it's actually a great intro into an at-home workout. So this will be the first step, and then we will progressively add more and more options as far as routines after this. But start with this as a foundation. It's pretty complete. All right, we're gonna get started on our back. You don't need too much space, but as you can see, I don't have a whole lot of space here, but everything's gonna be kind of in this area. Our first exercise is gonna be ankle circles. Okay, we'll lay on our back, one knee bent or straight, it's up to you. And holding the opposite thigh, you can rest your head. 10 circles clockwise, 10 circles counterclockwise, and then you'll just switch legs and do the opposite side. Remember, these exercises are at your own pace. I'll tell you the reps that I would recommend, but we're not going to do all of it. This is just the example. Secondly, we're going to go right into hip raises or glute raises. Now, the important thing with this is making sure that you're set up well and that you feel like you're pressing through your feet to lift your hips up. Again, press through your feet using the bottom of the glutes, not the low back. Keeping the spine nice and long, pressing through the feet, coming up and coming back down. Those are your glute raises. Let's do about 15 to 20 of those. Now we'll go into heel taps. Heel taps are again on our back. The feet are going to be slightly wider apart. We're going to crunch up with our chest, and we're going to just use our abdomen, the sides of our abdomen, to slide our hands down towards our heels. You may not be able to see, but you don't have to touch your heels. Just let your sides pull you down. We don't want to wing out real wide. That's kind of our shoulders. Let the sides crease you down this way. And by sides, I mean kind of your obliques, rather than letting your arm reach out of your socket. Those are heel taps. Next, we'll go to windshield wipers or back and forths. You'll see here in a second. So hip crossovers will be both legs up. You can have them at 90 degrees if that's a little easier for you. But eventually work your way up to this. Use your hands for stability. It's okay if your low back lifts off the ground a little bit, but don't let your shoulder blades follow, okay? So you go to the place where you feel like you can hold. Remember, it's your low abs that hold you, not your legs. So let the legs be free and let the low abs hold. We're gonna go 8 each side, so 16 total. Now we're gonna go into a familiar one, front plank. Now we're gonna set it up a little bit differently, because with us, we want to stay out of our joints, especially our knees, our low back. So what we want to do instead is use our feet, our core, and our shoulder blades to stabilize. We're going to be on our elbows and toes, just like this. And as you see, my hips are a little higher than my shoulder blades. As you improve, you can flatten it out, but at no point do I sag this way. So keep everything nice and active. Soften the knees so your quads aren't locked. And let's hold that for 30 seconds. Next, we'll go to bicycles. Now, bicycles, I'm going to try to get a good angle for you. Bicycles have 2 parts. The lower body part is a piston action. Even though it says bicycles, the lower legs, the legs act as pistons, so you can see them going up and down. Now, to match up with this, the upper body has to rotate. The upper body does not rotate nearly as far as the legs travel, so you have to match up the timing. Do that for about 30 seconds. Now we're going to go back to another isometric, which is basically a holding position, rather than a moving position, called the Supermans. You may have heard of it. We're going to do 3 variations. The first variation is resting on your stomach, of course. Most important thing with Supermans is understanding where your center is. Most people think that their center is their navel, when in fact, their center is much lower. Think about where your belt buckle would be, right above your pelvis. So press your center into the ground and dissipate all the tension throughout the lower body and throughout the upper body. We don't want to feel it too much in our lower back. That would be too much in our lumbar. So we kind of come down a little bit more with our upper body so we feel it more generally. Hands under the forehead, feet slightly separated. Hold that for 10 seconds. We'll do a second variation where we go wide with the hands, wide with the feet, holding the same center. 10 seconds. Finally, we'll do a third variation, pressing the hands together, pressing the feet together. Make sure you keep your head in line with your spine. Let the inner thighs work. 10 seconds. Once you've done that, we'll do a little bit of movement. I'm going to step back. Hopefully you can get the angle. Now we would do walking Frankenstein kicks, but depending on how much room you have, you may have to truncate what you use. This is just a hamstring kick that brings the opposite side up as well. So it's not about how flexible your hamstring is, it's about when you hit this switch, the body lifts as well. So pull up, pull down. Take a step, pull up, pull down. Okay, walk it back. Other leg, pull up, pull down, pull up, pull down. Now, be mindful of your space, obviously, but it's just getting your hips to work a little bit. We're gonna go in a standing position again and do backwards walking lunges if you have space. So with this, it's important to create the right amount of space. We start on single leg balance, push our body back, catch with the opposite foot, and now we use this foot to pull our body back tall. Using the other side, opposite leg, push our body back, pull our body back tall. We always find that balance point, that single leg balance point before we move again. Side plank, again, forearm, stack your feet, and now the goal here is to create space from the ground to your hip. See how I've created that space? I'm not overloaded on the shoulder, putting good weight in the feet. The bottom knee especially is going to be a little bent. Let's do that about 20 seconds each side. Then we'll go a different variation, side plank fire hydrant. I'm going to just do the other side just to show you. This one is on your knee. So we come up, again, creating the space, and using the bottom knee, relaxing that bottom foot, we create a little space here. There you go. Once we finish those side planks, we're going to go back into some ab work. This is going to be ab work for the low abs. So it helps if you have something heavy that you can hold on to, maybe a couch, or if you have a medicine ball, that'd be great. But bring one leg up, then the other one. What we're going to do is low ab leg lifts. Again, this is about your low abs. So let your low abs control how far your legs go. Do not try to hold from your hip flexors. You may use them a little bit, but don't overuse them. But you can see my legs are free and my abs are what's holding them. So this is the weight for this exercise. Okay? Do that for about 30 seconds. Now, we're going to use a broomstick or something similar to it. And if you want to go kneeling, you can. It works well if you're seated. This is what's called an overhead extension. Now, what's cool about the bar is this kind of puts your hands in a fixed place so that as you press up, your shoulder blades will work. Now, if you haven't done this before, if you're in a seated posture all the time, this is actually a pretty good one. So let your hands be well gripped, but let your elbows kind of be free. Take the tension out of your shoulders. And then try to drive your rib cage down as you press your elbows up. Now watch out, because your body will want to do this. It will want to kind of poke out its low back. You try to keep everything neutral and let the shoulder blades kind of get that mobility back. And we want to press slowly, hold, come back down, press slowly. You might get a little higher, might get a little higher. Okay, the goal is not to jam your shoulders. The goal is to get your shoulder blades to move better effectively. Okay, we're going to go to alternating toe touches now. So this is one you may have seen in the 80s in those cardio videos. But we're going to take a wide stance. What we're going to do is be more active when we go over to the side. So we want to think again about our obliques, our sides. That causes us to fold and push, and that creates the space for our arm to touch. We can rip our arm over there, but that's going to pull that, and we don't want that necessarily. We always create the space in a movement, and then it's very easy for the arm to reach. Okay? You want to keep a slight bend in the knee so you can fold. You see how I'm folded? There's no need for me to rip into my joint. I can fold again, and look where I'm at. I'm right where I need to be. And you'll get the appropriate stretch in the groin area. It'll be a real good one to get your legs woken up. We're going to go from there walking quad stretch. So it's step, let the quad stretch out a little bit, 3 seconds or so, opposite leg, okay? Do about 6 to 8 on each leg. We're gonna go back to hip bridges, okay? Now it should feel a little easier. Again, pressing through the feet, you may notice that you get a little bit higher. Again, don't do it with your low back, do it with the bottom of your glutes. Okay, feel your whole foot, not just the back, not just the front, the whole wet footprint. Very good. Okay, another lateral exercise we're gonna do, we're almost done. Okay, wide stance but not too wide. What you wanna do is drop your spine right in the middle. Don't worry about good posture on this one. You can actually have bad posture. So if I'm looking at the side, I can drop down, and then I just want to scrape my knuckles on the ground, shifting side to side. I call these gorilla knuckles because you can just kind of scrape the ground, let your head fall, and get into those deep corners of your groin to help stretch that out. Okay, we have that. Uppercuts will be the second to last one. Uppercuts is a good space creation exercise. This is more of a fluid movement one. So you may have seen an uppercut like that. This is more of a movement drill. It's not an actual uppercut. So using the foot, we're going to create the space. Create the space by turning the foot and the hip and letting the arm finish and be free. You should almost be able to let that arm bounce a little bit. Come on back, use the other foot. Foot, hip, create the space. You almost tilt a little bit, and then look, your arm can move freely. Turn. Make sure you're turning before you punch. Your whole body should face a lateral direction so that your arm can just freely move up and down. All right? Finally, you can use your preferred method of calf stretch. Okay, just like that. And then lastly, we're gonna do turns, just like this. If you can see that my torso's turning but my hips are not, now we're gonna add on to this to do our running arms. So this chest turns so that the arms can move, chest turns, arm can move, and we're just gonna move freely just like that. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Okay. So if you've done that, you can see that it's taken a little while even just to demonstrate. 30 seconds for each exercise that involves time, 12 to 15 reps for each exercise that involves reps. If you do that and you haven't done anything in a while, that in itself will be a great workout to start with. I would recommend you do that a couple of times a week, and then stay tuned for future routines that I will create because we have the time and we have the space. So I hope that helped. Please leave some comments, some messages, what you liked, what you didn't like, and we can move forward together. Thanks again, guys. See you next time.